Have you ever opened a children's storybook, not as a child, but as a learner of English? What if I told you that fairy tales, picture books, and magical adventures could be the key to mastering a new language? Hi, I'm James, and today we're diving into something truly enchanting, learning English through storybooks and fairy tales. This isn't just a method, it's a journey. And I've got 5 incredible stories to share. Real people, real progress, and real magic. Let's begin, like all good stories, once upon a time. Meet Maria, a 26-year-old from Brazil. When Maria first moved to Canada, she barely spoke a word of English. She felt overwhelmed. News articles were too complex, and TV shows moved too fast. One day, while walking through a library, she stumbled upon a book with a big green caterpillar on the cover. The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle. Now, this wasn't Shakespeare, but it was perfect. Simple words, bright illustrations, repetition. Maria began to read it out loud every night. On Monday, he ate through 1 apple. Each sentence was a victory. Each page turned was progress. Slowly, she started picking up patterns, days of the week, food vocabulary, past tense. And most importantly, she started feeling confident. Then there's Ahmed, a teenager from Egypt with a wild imagination and a deep love for fantasy. His favorite book? Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. At first it was tough. The magical words, Hogwarts, Muggle, Quidditch, felt like learning 2 new languages at once. But Ahmed didn't give up. He kept a notebook. Every time he didn't know a word, he'd write it down, look it up, and try to use it in his own sentence. Slowly, the magic of the language unfolded. Wand, cloak, invisibility. Words he'd never need in real life. But somehow, learning them opened the door to learning so much more. Now, let's talk about Lina, a university student from South Korea. She used bilingual storybooks, English on the left page, Korean on the right. She would read a paragraph in English, then cross-check with her native language. It wasn't cheating, it was smart. Lina says it helped her see how English sentences are structured. She learned that the girl ate an apple isn't just about the words, it's about the order, the rhythm. And because the stories were familiar, she wasn't distracted by complicated plots. She could focus on the language. Each of these learners started with something small. A picture book, a chapter, a single sentence. But through repetition, curiosity, and a little magic, those small steps turned into giant leaps. And we're just getting started. Now we've met Maria, Ahmed, and Lina, each one finding their unique path through English with the help of storybooks. But what happens when those stories inspire you to create your own? Let me introduce you to Tariq. Tariq grew up in Jordan. He loved reading fables and folk tales in Arabic. When he began learning English in school, he was excited, but quickly overwhelmed. Grammar rules, vocabulary lists, they didn't stick. Until one day, after reading a short English fairy tale, he had an idea. What if I wrote my own? He didn't wait until he was fluent. He just started. First, simple lines. Once upon a time there was a dragon. Then he'd build. The dragon had big wings. He could fly over mountains. Writing wasn't just practice. It was empowerment. It helped him play with the language, make mistakes, fix them, learn. And soon, he wasn't just writing stories, he was writing better English. Now meet Sophie from France. Reading was hard for her at first. She'd get stuck on words, frustrated. She'd lose the flow of the story. But then she discovered a powerful trick: audiobooks. She'd press play and read along with her eyes while listening with her ears. Suddenly, the words came to life. She could hear how though sounds different from through. She caught intonation, stress, and pronunciation in a way that no textbook could teach. It was like having a private teacher reading just to her. Fairy tales like Little Red Riding Hood or The Ugly Duckling became not just stories, but lessons in sound, rhythm, and understanding. There's something powerful about starting small, about learning through characters, not classrooms. These 5 learners, Maria, Ahmed, Lina, Tariq, Sophie, each followed a different path. But they all began with the same simple truth. Language is not just a subject, it's a story. When you learn through storybooks, you're not just memorizing words, you're experiencing them. You feel the emotions, you connect with the characters, you remember. And no matter your age, level, or accent, these stories are for you. So, the next time you feel stuck with English, I want you to walk into a bookstore or open a children's book online, find a fairy tale, and let it guide you. Because behind every simple sentence is a world of discovery. And maybe, just maybe, you'll be the next one telling your story. Let's take a moment to reflect. Why does this method work so well? Why do storybooks, something we often associate with children, hold so much power for adults learning English? Because stories are how we make sense of the world. Before we ever learned grammar rules or vocabulary lists, we told stories. Around fires, at bedsides, through whispers and laughter. Language itself was born from storytelling. So when you learn English through a story, you're not just learning. It's like coming home. Think of it like planting a seed. Each story you read is a drop of water. Every time you reread a line, or listen again, or write your own ending, you nourish that seed. And slowly, the roots of language grow deeper. You don't notice it right away, but one day, you realize you understood that sentence. You followed that conversation. You laughed at a joke in English. And it all started with a book that maybe, just maybe, had a dragon or a talking duck. English isn't just for tests. It's not just for job interviews or classroom drills. It's a living, breathing thing. And stories are the heart of it. That's why learners like Maria, Ahmed, Lina, Tariq, and Sophie made such powerful progress. Not because they were smarter, not because they studied harder, but because they connected with English on an emotional level. They saw themselves in the stories. They felt the language. And when you feel something, you remember it. So, what about you? What story will you start with? Maybe it's something playful like The Cat in the Hat, or mysterious like Coraline. Maybe you'll pick a bilingual book, or listen to Alice in Wonderland as an audiobook. The important thing is, start. And don't be afraid to revisit old stories. Something magical happens when you read a book again, this time understanding words that confused you before. You see your progress written between the lines. Every learner has a first page. Yours can begin today. So here's your challenge. Pick a short story. Read it once this week. Read it again out loud. Listen to it. Write your own version. Play with it. Live inside it. because you deserve to enjoy the process, not just survive it. And if you do that, one day soon you'll look back and realize your English story isn't just being read, it's being written by you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. If you've ever learned English through a storybook or want to start, share your journey in the comments. Let's inspire each other. And remember, every English learner has a story, and every story begins with "Once upon a time."